Good afternoon. Again, now I will revise what was studied in the morning because in the morning there was lot of problem of recording. Also, the internet bad connection were there. Now we have seen again. I will repeat Raymond Boyd method. There is no exact solution to Reynolds equation for a journal bearing having a finite length. However, A. Raimondi and John Boyd of Westinghouse Research Laboratory solved this question on computer using the iteration technique. The results of this book are available in the form of charts and tables. In the Raimondi and Boyd method, the performance of the bearing is expressed in terms of dimensionless parameters. Table 16.1 gives values of these parameters for a full journal bearing with side flow. Now in figure 16.25, O and O dash are the axes of the bearing and journal respectively. Journal means shaft. The distance O dash is called eccentricity and denoted by letter small e. The radial clearance C is given by C is equal to capital R minus small r, where capital R is equal to inner radius of the bearing and small r is equal to radius of the shaft. Therefore, the eccentricity ratio epsilon is defined as ratio of eccentricity to radial clearance. Therefore, epsilon is equal to E divided by C. Therefore, epsilon is the eccentricity ratio. Therefore, referring to figure 16.25, capital R is equal to E plus R plus H naught, where H naught is equal to minimum film thickness in mm. Substituting equation 16.16 in equation A, C is equal to capital R minus small r, which is equal to E plus H naught, which is equal to C into epsilon plus H naught. Therefore, C into bracket 1 minus epsilon is equal to H naught. Therefore, epsilon is equal to 1 minus H naught upon C. Equation 16.17. The quantity H naught upon C is called the minimum film thickness variable. The Sommerfeld number S is given by S is equal to R divided by C bracket square into mu ns divided by P, where S is equal to Sommerfeld number dimensionless, mu is equal to viscosity of the lubricant Newton second per mm square or megapascal second. Ns is equal to journal speed revolution per second. P is equal to unit bearing pressure, that is load per unit of the projected area Newton per m square. The Sommerfeld number contains all variables which are controlled by the designer. The angle phi shown in figure 16.25 is called the angle of eccentricity or attitude angle. It locates the position of minimum film thickness with respect to the direction of load. The values of phi given in table 16.1 are in degrees. The coefficient of friction variable CFV is given by CFV is equal to R divided by C into small f, where small f is the coefficient of friction. The frictional torque is given by MTF is equal to, or frictional torque is equal to F into W into R in Newton mm. Frictional power is equal to 2 pi ns into FWR Newton mm per second, therefore which is equal to 2 pi ns into FWR into 10 raised to minus 3 watt, which is equal to 2 pi ns into FWR into 10 raised to minus 6 kilowatt. Therefore, frictional power transmitted is equal to 2 pi ns F into WR divided by 10 raised to 6. The flow variable Fv is given by Fv is equal to Q divided by RC NSL, where L is the equal to length of the bearing in mm. Q is equal to flow of the lubricant mm cube per second. In this case, Q represents the total flow of the lubricating oil, a part of which is circulated around the periphery of the journal, while the remaining oil flows out as side leakage. Qs represents the side leakage, which can be calculated from the values of parameter Qs divided by Q given in the table. The maximum pressure Pmax developed in the film is calculated from the ratio P divided by Pmax given in the last column of the table. This value is based on the assumption that the oil is supplied at the atmospheric pressure. If the oil is supplied at a higher pressure, the maximum pressure Pmax will also increase by the corresponding value. Now, temperature rise. Heat is generated in the bearing due to viscosity of the lubricating oil. The frictional work is converted into heat, which increases the temperature of the lubricant. Assuming that the total heat generated in the bearing is carried away by the total oil flow in the bearing, the expression for temperature rise can be determined. Delta T is equal to 8.3 into P into CFV divided by FV. The average temperature of the lubricating oil is given by TAV is equal to Ti plus delta T divided by 2, where Ti is the inlet temperature. Now we will see bearing design, that is selection of parameters. Very often in the supplementary stages of journal bearing design, it is required to select suitable values for the following parameters. First, length to diameter ratio. Second, unit bearing pressure. Third, startup load. Fourth, radial clearance. Fifth, minimum oil film thickness. And sixth, maximum oil film temperature. Now, first parameter we'll see length to diameter ratio. In the design of hydrodynamic bearings, the diameter of the shaft is determined by strength or rigidity considerations and not on the basis of bearing capacity. The shaft diameter is usually determined by using the criteria such as permissible stress, permissible lateral deflection, or permissible angle of twist. Therefore, it is the bearing length that the designer has to decide to obtain a given bearing capacity. The length to diameter ratio L by D affects the performance of the bearing. As the ratio increases, the resulting film pressure increases as shown in figure 16.26. A long bearing therefore has more load carrying capacity compared with a short bearing. A short bearing, on the other hand, has greater side flow, which improves heat dissipation. The long bearings are more susceptible to metal contact at the two edges when the shaft is deflected under load. The longer the bearing, the more difficult it is to get sufficient oil flow through the passage between the journal and the bearing. Therefore, the design trend is to use L by D ratio as 1 or less than 1. When the shaft and the bearing are precisely aligned, the shaft deflection is within the limit and cooling of lubricant and bearing does not present a serious problem. The L by D ratio can be taken as more than 1. In practice, the L by D ratio varies from zero point 0.5 to 2, but in the majority of applications, it is taken as 1 or less than 1. The following terminology is used in relation to L by D ratio. When L by D ratio is more than 1, the bearing is called long bearing. When L by D ratio is less than 1, the bearing is called short bearing. When L by D ratio is equal to 1, the bearing is called square bearing. Now, second parameter, unit bearing pressure. The unit bearing pressure is the load per unit of projected area of the bearing in running condition. It depends upon a number of factors such as bearing material, operating temperature, the nature of and frequency of load, and service conditions. The values of unit bearing pressure based on past experience are given in table 16.2. Therefore, table 16.2 permissible bearing pressures application. First column, second unit bearing pressure. Diesel engines, main bearing unit bearing pressure is 5 to 10 Newton per m square. Crank pin 7 to 14 Newton per m square. Gudgeon pin 13 to 14 Newton per m square. Automotive engines, in that main bearing 3 to 4 Newton per m square. Crank pin 10 to 14 Newton per m square. Air compressors, main bearing 1 to 1.5 Newton per m square. Crank pin 1.5 to 3.0 Newton per m square. Centrifugal pumps, main bearing zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.7. Electric motors, main bearing 0.7 to 1.5. Transmission shafting, light duty 0.15, heavy duty 1.0. Machine tools, main bearing 2. Now, third point, startup load. The unit bearing pressure for starting conditions should not exceed 2 Newton per m square. The startup load is the static load when the shaft is stationary. It mainly consists of the dead weight of the shaft and its attachments. The startup load can be used to determine the minimum length of the bearing on the basis of starting conditions. Fourth, radial clearance. The radial clearance should be small to provide the necessary velocity gradient. However, this requires costly finishing operations, rigid mountings of the bearing assembly, and clean lubricating oil without any foreign particles. This increases the initial and maintenance cost. The practical value of radial clearance is 0.001 mm per mm of the journal radius, or C is equal to 0.001 R. The practical values of radial clearances for commonly used bearing materials are given in table 16.3. Therefore, table 16.3 radial clearance material radial clearance for Babbitt's it is 0.001 R to 0.00167 R. Copper lead 0.001 R to 0.001 R. Aluminum alloy 0.002 R to 0.025 R. Minimum oil film thickness. The surface finish of the journal and the bearing is governed by the value of the minimum oil film thickness selected by the designer and vice versa. There is a lower limit for the minimum oil film thickness below which metal to metal contact occurs and the hydrodynamic film breaks. This lower limit is given by H naught is equal to 0.002 R. Maximum oil film temperature. The lubricating oil tends to oxidize when the operating temperature exceeds 120 degrees Celsius. Also, the surface of Babbitt bearing tends to soften at 125 degrees Celsius for bearing pressure of 7 Newton per m square and at 190 degrees Celsius for bearing pressure of 1.4 Newton per m square. Therefore, the operating temperature should be kept within these limits. In general, the limiting temperature is 90 degrees Celsius for bearings made of Babbitts. Bearings can be designed for two different conditions: bearings for maximum load carrying capacity and bearings for minimum frictional loss. The optimum values of H naught upon C for full journal bearing for these conditions are as follows: L by D ratio, H naught upon C for maximum load, H naught upon C for minimum friction. Now L by D ratio infinity 0.66, 0.6, 1, 0.53, 0.3, 0.5, 0.43, 0.12, 0.25, 0.27, 0.03. The designer can use the above values for design of bearings under optimum conditions. Now we will see one example. Therefore, please write down the example. Therefore, example 16.9, the following data is given for a 360-degree hydrodynamic bearing. Radial load 3.2 kilonewton, journal speed 1490 rpm, journal diameter 50 mm, bearing length 50 mm, radial clearance 0.05 mm, viscosity of the lubricant 25 centipoise. Assuming that the total heat generated in the bearing is carried by the total oil flow in the bearing, calculate first coefficient of friction, second power lost in friction, third minimum oil film thickness, fourth flow requirement in 1 liter per minute, and fifth temperature rise. Please write down the problem. I will wait for 2 minutes so that we will solve this problem. Okay, now we'll solve the problem. Solution. Now, first of all, we'll find out P, pressure P. Pressure P is equal to, we are knowing load divided by area. Therefore, area of the bearing is equal to LD, which is equal to 3.2 into 10 raised to 3 divided by length of bearing is 50 into diameter is again 50. It is in mm. Therefore, pressure P we will get in Newton per mm square. What is the value? Anyone can tell? Hello? Hello? It is 1.28 Newton per mm square. Now we'll find out Sommerfeld number. We'll find out Sommerfeld number. Therefore, Sommerfeld number, sorry, Sommerfeld number S is equal to R divided by C bracket square into mu ns divided by P. Therefore, substitute the values. R means 25 divided by 0.05 bracket square into mu means that dynamic viscosity 25 divided by 10 raised to 9. It is given in centipoise. We have to convert it into SI unit into 1490 divided by 60 into 1 divided by 1.28. Therefore, Sommerfeld number S is equal to 0.121. Now we have to calculate L by D. L by D is equal to 50 divided by 50, which is equal to 1. Therefore, this is square bearing. Length is equal to diameter, therefore it is known as square bearing. Now they have given us different values in the problem itself. Therefore, R upon C is equal to R upon C into F is equal to 3.22. Then H naught upon C is equal to zero point 0.4. Then Q divided by RC NS into L is equal to 4.33. Therefore, these values are given, or they are providing some table, and we have to find out these values from the table. Therefore, F is equal to 3.22 into C divided by R, which is equal to 3.22 into 0.05 divided by 25 Therefore, F is equal to, we are getting it as 0.00644. Now, this is the first value, coefficient of friction. This is the answer 1. Now, we will find out frictional power transmission, KWF. KWF is equal to, we have seen the formula, 2 pi ns into F, that is coefficient of friction, into W into R, divided by 10 raised to 6, which is equal to, substitute the values, 2 pi into ns 1451490 divided by 60, because we have to convert into revolution per second, into 0.00644 into into 3.2 into 10 raised to 3 into 25 divided by 10 raised to 6. Therefore, frictional power transmission transmitted is equal to zero point zero 0.08. Now H naught is equal to, H naught is equal to 0.4 C, which is equal to zero point 0.4 into 0.05, which is equal to 0.02 mm. Therefore, we will calculate now this H naught value we have calculated. This is answer 2. This is answer 3. Now, Q is equal to, we will calculate flow in liter per minute, 4.33 into R into C into NS into L, which is equal to 4.33 into 25 into 0.05 into 1490 divided by 60 into 50, which therefore Q is equal to 6720.5 mm cube per second. Therefore, which is equal to 6720.5 into 10 raised to minus 6 into 60. This value comes out to be 0.403 liter per minute. Now we have to find out temperature rise delta T. Delta T is equal to 8.3 P into CFV divided by FV, which is equal to 8.3 into 1.28 into 3.22 divided by 4.33. Therefore, delta T is equal to 7.9 degrees Celsius. Therefore, this is answer 4. Answer, I think, answer 5. This is answer 5. And this is answer 4. Therefore, this is the problem related to hydrodynamic bearing. Now, we will see last point in the chapter, that is hydrostatic lubrication. Hydrostatic lubrication is defined as a system of lubrication in which the load supporting fluid film separating the two surfaces is created by an external source like a pump supplying sufficient fluid under pressure. Since the lubricant is supplied under pressure, this type of bearing is called externally pressurized bearing. The principle of hydrostatic lubrication in journal bearing is illustrated in figure 16.5. Initially, the shaft rests on the bearing surface. As the pump starts, high pressure fluid is admitted in the clearance space, forcing the surfaces of the bearing and the journal to separate out. Hydrostatic bearings are used on vertical turbogenerators, centrifuges, and ball mills. Compared with hydrostatic bearings, hydrodynamic bearings are simple in construction, easy to maintain, and lower in initial as well as maintenance cost. Hydrostatic bearings, although costly, offer the following advantages. First, high load carrying capacity even at low speeds. Second, no starting friction. And next, that is third, no rubbing action at any operating speed or load. Therefore, this is nothing but hydrostatic lubrication. You are observing this shaft is there, it is rested in the bearing. Therefore, when pump oil with the help of pump, we can force the oil inside the bearing, or we can transfer the oil inside the bearing. Therefore, when this oil will get transferred, this load is going to be lifted. Load means this shaft. A condition is there, journal at rest, and B condition, journal at full speed. Therefore, we will stop here. Your chapter is over and your syllabus is also over. I will provide you assignment questions. Therefore, you have to write 5 assignments. Also, we have completed one project related to pressure vessel. That project you have to write and you have to submit it in the through Google form. I will supply the links of Google form for submission. Now hereafter you have to complete the submission. In next week you have to complete the submission of our machine design subject. Tomorrow I will send objective type of test on all chapters again. Please attempt the objective type of test because your question paper is objective type only. Therefore, all the students should pass in the examination. All the students should solve the objective type of test. Thank you very much. We will stop here. Thank you. Thank you.